I'm cool with a snake. That freaked me out. I'm like, there's something's in the coop, and it was hissing at us, so I was freaking out, and I saw like claws, and I was like, that's not a snake. I don't know what that is.
Down, I was like, you're okay. You need to breathe. We need to stop and breathe before we keep going.
Yeah, that's your. You only get one chance to ever catch one of those in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd find one here.
Today I'm on the coast of Georgia, and it's beautiful here. I drove all this way because one lady thought she had a snake in her chicken coop. And if you have chickens, you're gonna have snakes. Because if you have chickens, you got chicken feed. If you have chicken feed, you're gonna have mice and rats. So the snake is eating a lot of eggs, but he's not just eating eggs, he's also eating things you don't want around, the mice and rats. But we got one of those calls today. But this one is not a snake.
Put up our dog because he would just bark.
Oh, okay.
I know Mary came in the house yelling for me because she saw something weird in the coop because our dog was not leaving it alone, just kind of barking, and she went and it kind of uncoiled, and she didn't know what it was. So that's how it started.
Like a week, we weren't getting any eggs, and we noticed, or not in the coop, and we noticed the chickens were laying them just like randomly around the yard, and the chickens weren't wanting to go in the coop.
And they always lay them in the coop?
They
normally?
always lay in the coop. And they had
How long was
stock.
that going on, you think?
I would say probably right at a week.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we were normally getting, we only got 2 chickens, so we were getting 2 eggs a day, and then it went from finding random eggs and then hardly finding any eggs. So, well, we were actually in the front yard doing yard work, and we heard our dog, and our dog is not aggressive, and he doesn't bark aggressively. So when I heard him barking aggressively, I took my little girl inside, and I ran out here, and I was like, what is he barking at? And he was in the coop cornering it and growling. And I thought it was a large snake. I was like, somebody's boa constrictor has gotten out of its house. So I'm like, I'm just gonna close the coop. And when I closed the coop, it like turned out, and I saw like claws, and I was like, that's not a snake. I don't know what that is. So I hurried and closed the coop, ran inside, screamed for my husband, and he's like, what's happening? And I'm like, there's something's in the coop, and it was hissing at us. So I was freaking out. My dog, I finally had to put him away because he wouldn't let us get close to the coop because he's like, no, don't get over there, it's dangerous. So, and our chickens are losing their minds. So he came out, saw it, FaceTimed our friend Stanley here, and he was like, give me 30 minutes, I'll be there and help you guys out.
So I guess y'all just leave this door open and they kind of go back and forth?
Yeah, we just leave the little door open and they come in and out as they please.
Yeah. And so now they won't even go back in here.
No.
I wouldn't either if I was them.
Yeah, they won't go in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's a log. And I'm like, well, I don't know how a log would have gotten in there. And then my next thing was, it's moving. Okay, it's probably somebody's boa because we've got a lot of kids around here with funky animals. So I'm like, it's probably just somebody's snake that got out. I'm cool with a snake. That freaked me out. I was like, nope, it's a dragon. There's a dragon in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just received the call, and when I saw it, I was just amazed, and I just had to come grab it. And
He's like, we got a monster in our coop.
so I ran out to the garage, and I just manufactured a little catch pole, and got in the car and came down here.
And so that's how you caught it?
Yeah, I didn't want to get in there and hand catch it in the small spot, so I just sort of put this around the corner and pulled him out into the makeshift enclosure.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't want to get bit by this.
No, not at all.
Not.
So did he send you a photo of it?
He FaceTimed me with it, and I saw it. I was like, oh my God. Like, normally in this area, you see people with monitors or tegus, but I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd see that on this side of the country.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So when you saw it, you knew what it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was shaking how excited I was.
Really? And you're like, I bet, were you speeding to get here?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I planted a tree in the front yard like that, small one, and I almost hit it getting out the driveway. I was so excited.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have done
had to
the
calm
same
him down.
thing.
I was like, you're okay. You need to breathe. We need to stop and breathe before we keep going.
Yeah,
in the car.
that's you only get one chance to ever catch one of those in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing. In coastal Georgia, yeah, I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd find one here.
And you knew not to pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bad day. So I just opened the door and just stuck the pole in, and it was real smooth. Pulled him out right into the enclosure.
Did he thrash around at all? Was he pretty
He
calm?
spun a little bit, but
Like an alligator death roll.
yeah, it wasn't difficult at all. It was real smooth.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so I was talking to you, and you said that he would get bit and let us record it. Is it?
Yes, he did. He signed it. I wrote up a waiver and everything
good,
for you,
good.
and he signed it at home.
Good.
Yeah, poked
Okay.
some blood too, and signed in blood, you know.
All right, cool. So did you bring this tub with you?
Yeah.
You just put it.
I jumped out all my shoes.
We were frantic. We were like, yeah, get a tub deck container. And I was
So that's your shoe container.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drilled some holes in it so we can get air.
Told him to jump off a bridge.
There's extra on the corners.
Oh yeah. Got it. Oh, okay. The clear tape. Yep. Y'all taped it good. That's a good thing.
Remember this place, don't you?
Heck yeah, y'all brought me home.
Proceeds to run back into the street.
Ooh yeah.
Wow.
That's not too bad. So that is not only a beaded lizard, it's a big beaded lizard.
Oh, you could hear. Wow.
That's pretty cool. So all that huffing and puffing is saying, leave me alone. That's exactly what it's saying. And if you, so the common name, beaded lizard, and the, hang on a second. You're getting wiggly on me. The common and scientific name, Heloderma, that basically means beaded skin. And so the little beads on here, if you can get really close there, those are osteoderms, kind of like what alligators have. So each one of those little bumps, like on the head, those have bone underneath there. Those are all have bone underneath there. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of like armor. And this is a, I mean, like I'm holding this thing and it's wiggling right now. It's really strong. It's like a little gate, like a, if you picked up an alligator this size, this is how strong a little alligator would be. So if, thank God, these don't get to be 10 foot long because they would be deadly to us. But these guys are really awesome. Now, you see his tail? His tail looks thick, but for a beaded lizard, it's actually kind of thin. We like to see this tail like quite a bit thicker than this. And these lizards, what they do is they store fat in their tail. So if they have periods of you know, where they can't find food, they can go for months. One of these lizards could go a whole year with 3 or 4 meals, and that's it. And 3 or 4 large meals, and they store the fat in the tail, and they'll live off those reserves. So this lizard could possibly have been out here in the wild in Georgia for quite a while, living off the fat reserves in his tail, because his tail is not really thick. So he's going home with us, and he might end up in our reptile exhibit at some point if he doesn't bite me. Look at that mouth. He means business. He is ready to go for real.
Look at that.
That is cool. Yeah, y'all want to feel him? He's really cool.
And if you don't mind, can I see the chicken that this lizard has been terrorizing?
So does this chicken have a name?
Fancy.
Fancy. And what kind of chicken is it?
She is a silky Polish.
Does she like lizards?
She only likes people. I know, sister, I know. Yeah, yeah.
She's very pretty.
I'm a little muddy today.
We got the lizard for you. It's not gonna bother
Yeah. She's looking at her coop like, is it gone? You can go
you.
home.
That's funny. That's
She's
funny.
like, you didn't tell me I didn't wash my hair.
I know, I would have washed my hair for this.
Put on my mascara.
And the other chicken is still over there hiding.
Watch it run out of the coop. It's like, no.
She's like, hey,
I ain't
no,
going in that
I'm
coop.
not going back in there. You want to go back in? Come on.
She's like, you might be crazy. I ain't crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, here she goes.
Oh, are we good? Good girl.
Just checking it out.
Good girl.
Yes, I got it. Are you sure I don't see it in the back?
She's looking all around
I
too.
know. She's like, that thing was in here.
It's like a chemist or engineer or something. Like, I don't know, he made this whole like bent nail and the axe handle thing.
Fancy, you can go ahead and go in there. I've checked the nesting area. There's no more lizards, I promise.
She's still iffy about it. There we go. Good job. She had to check it out. She was like, where is
This is not what you want to have in your chicken coop. I can't imagine walking out and finding this fellow in there. This is a venomous lizard from Mexico here on the South Georgia coast. Now, where in the world did this thing come from? Well, hey buddy, I see you. I see your mouth. Yeah, you're very strong. You're very pretty. I promise I'm gonna put you down soon. Yeah, this little fellow, he's not very friendly. Where did he come from? Now, fortunately, unlike the tegu lizard, which has been spotted here in South Georgia and can survive here in South Georgia, this beaded lizard can't survive here long term. At least we don't think they can. I'm pretty sure they can't. Not like a tegu lizard could. So I don't believe this lizard was loose for very long, and definitely a little more dangerous than a tegu. This lizard was long thought to be one of only a couple lizards that are venomous. The beaded lizards, and then you have the Gila monsters. But then some research has been done, and they figured out that there's other lizards that also have venom, like some monitors and things. But this one definitely has a much more sophisticated venom delivery system. In the bottom of his jaw are some pretty big teeth. And they're not fangs like a venomous snake would have. They're actually grooved. And his venom glands are in the bottom jaw, not in the top jaw like a venomous snake is. You know, something that's really cool is venomous snakes have venom primarily to secure their food, but not this lizard. This lizard's venom is primarily to inflict pain on whatever's trying to hurt it. So this is a lizard that you definitely would never want to get bit by. Now, they're pretty slow moving. If I were to put him on the ground, he would try to get away, but be pretty easy to catch. He's not like an iguana or a tegu that could take off and get really fast. But and because of that, because he can't get away from predators very well, he does have to have a pretty powerful defense. And he definitely has that. And if you look at his feet, he's got some pretty big feet. These lizards love to dig. And what they do, they actually specialize in eating eggs. So where these guys live in Mexico, down into Guatemala, beaded lizards specialize in finding eggs, like tortoise eggs. Birds that nest on the ground. And you know, here in South Georgia, that can be a problem because we have native turkeys and quail, and we have the gopher tortoise, and we don't want tegu lizards or beaded lizards eating those eggs, because the gopher tortoise is, of course, a protected species. So really, really cool animal. I will probably never in my entire life get to catch one of these. These are protected throughout the range. So even if you got lucky enough in Mexico or further south to stumble on one of these beaded lizards, you definitely couldn't catch it. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, if this thing's from Mexico, why not take it back to Mexico and turn it loose? Well, in all probability, this lizard was bred, hatched, and raised in captivity. So it's probably not actually from the wild. Most likely, I wouldn't think so. But even if it was, we still would not want to transport this back to its home range and release it, because we don't know what parasites and pathogens it's picked up to then be able to transmit those back to its native range, and could possibly wipe out the whole system there of all these native lizards. So this can never be released into the wild. It'll have to remain in captivity. But these lizards are regulated here in the US as well. So whoever had this lizard in Georgia had it illegally. And it makes me wonder, if they had this, what else they have? Because this is not like, hey, I want to get into venomous reptiles, let's start out with this. Whoever had it probably has some other stuff, in my opinion. I know, fella, I'm going to put you down in just a minute. We got a long ride. I'm going to put you in your travel container, and we're going to transport you back to our facility, and you're going to be used for education. We're going to feed you. We're going to feed you too. Okay, just please don't bite me. Now, this lizard is probably, I want to say, maybe 2 foot long, maybe 2.5 foot long. So it's a pretty nice sized adult beaded lizard. This is about as big as this lizard is going to get. So a very, very beautiful thing. But man, we definitely don't want this crawling around and ending up in chicken coops here in South Georgia.
Just like your fingerprints are unique to you, this lizard's pattern is unique to it. So we can look at this animal's pattern and tell it from any other beaded lizard in the world. So, right before I left, they told me they named the lizard Elizabeth. I love it. You can't get a more perfect name for this lizard than Elizabeth. Come on. And I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. I'm thinking it might be a boy just because of its size, but I'm not sure. But either way, we're keeping the name Elizabeth. So listen, I said, Elizabeth, here we are on the coast of Georgia. The weather is perfect. It's beautiful. How about you and I go take a walk on the beach? Which is exactly what we did. We even got to see some native wildlife that's supposed to be here. Now, if you've never visited the coast of Georgia, you should. It is worth the trip. After a little time of us wandering around out here, time finally came for us to enjoy a South Georgia sunset. And it did not disappoint. But we've got a long drive. We got a 4-hour road trip ahead of us. It's time to get back. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around the fact that we just got a Mexican beaded lizard, a venomous lizard that was in someone's chicken coop in Georgia. This is crazy. This is a once-in-a-lifetime find. So now we're going to take Elizabeth back. She's going to be added to our collection, our educational animals that we use, and you just may see her sometime. But for right now, it's time for me and Elizabeth to go home. I don't even know what time it is. It's after midnight. I've not made it home yet. I'm in a hotel room. And so here's what happened. I'm driving down the interstate and it's already nighttime and my lights go out and the word alternator pops up on the dash of the Venom van. I was able to work it off the interstate and up the ramp to an exit. There's a red light there. And I'm like, if I stop at this red light, it's not gonna go again. So I ran through the red light carefully and over the bridge and then down the hill to a gas station. And I'm like, okay, the alternator's going out. So I call a local tow company and they wanted an incredible amount of money to tow this van. And then they were quoting an even more outrageous figure to fix the alternator. And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So I call a really good guy, Charles, who owns KEM, and awesome company. And he's like, look, this guy's ripping you off. Go find you a hotel, and I will bring my tow truck 4 hours down there where you're at, 4-hour drive, pick you up, pick up your van, drive it back to my shop, and we'll get your alternator fixed. Charles is absolute the best. So by this time, a sheriff's deputy pulls up at the gas station. So I walk over and I'm like, listen, I just came down here and I had to get this venomous lizard out of a chicken coop, and now my van is broke down and I need to get to a hotel with the lizard. And he's like, what? So I explain it to him again, tell him who I was, and he's like, oh yeah, I got you. Well, I'll take you to the hotel, but I'd like to see this lizard. So I take him to the van, we open up the box. He's like, wow, this is so freaking cool. And I show him the lizard and he really liked it. And then another deputy showed up and I showed him the lizard. I'm telling him all about the lizard. And well, then he's like, okay, well, grab your stuff and we'll hop in the patrol car and I'll take you to your hotel. He said, but our policy says we can't let anyone ride in the front seat. You're going to have to ride in the back. I'm like, this is fine. I'll ride in the back. I don't have to be handcuffed, right? He's like, no. So I'm like, okay, I'll get in the back. And I'm 6'5", okay? And I'm a big guy. So if I can get in this back seat, it's going to be a magic trick, me getting in the back seat. So I open the door, and the one cop is like, well, the best way for you to do it is if you like sit backwards and then slide into the seat, just put your legs in the seat. I'm like, okay. So I sit down, and the top of the police car is hitting me below my shoulders. I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. So I get out, and I'm like, I'm going to get down and crawl in head first, right? And I do that, and then I'm like, when I'm thinking head first, I'm gonna flip around. I gotta flip around, and now my knees are hitting the back of the seat. So I have to straighten my legs out and turn around. But then when I do that, my legs are hanging out the door of the police car, and I can't get my legs in the car. I mean, it was tight. So I worm my way back out of this back seat. I back myself out. I'm like, this ain't gonna work. So he says, look, it's against policy, but I'm gonna move my laptop and I'm gonna move all my stuff. We're gonna get you in the front seat of this police car. So he does all that, and I get in, and then like I'm sitting in, and like I'm trying to put my hand in, and like the door is hitting me here. I have to like dislocate my neck to get my head like in the police car. And then once I get in there, we get the door shut, and I'm like, please don't wreck, because if you do, you're gonna have to extricate me with the fire department or something to get me out of this car. So anyway, we're here, we're at a hotel, and me and Elizabeth, that's its name, Elizabeth, that's what they named it. So we're here. I'm gonna take the bed by the window, and Elizabeth is in this bed. So this is my night so far. Charles is coming in the morning to pick me and the Venom van up and get us going on the road again. This has been a long day, but hey, we're making it. Let's go see Elizabeth right now. So Elizabeth is right here, hanging out. You hear her hissing? Look, oh, okay. Never mind, she's right, there's her head right down there. Her head. She's done got herself under the covers. Let's see. Hello. Is this hotel acceptable, Elizabeth? As long as she stays in her bed, I will stay in mine. And hopefully we'll have a nice, peaceful night at this hotel I'm not going to mention the name of. In a chicken coop.
Are you, is that an alligator or something? Not an alligator, but what?
Well, they're related to Gila monsters.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's a beaded lizard from Mexico.
And he's poisonous,
He's cute.
He's venomous, yeah.
Somebody had him.
So would he kill you?
Yeah, somebody had him illegally as a pet.
He won't kill you. Say just make you wish you're dead.
Blood in there.
No, he's cute though.
Yeah, I got
He's
this.
cute.
He is cute. He's pretty colored. You can't get out of there.
If we leave him here, he'll just climb out, yeah.
Well, what do you do with it now? Do you have to donate it to like
Get
a
to a
zoo or
preserve.
something?
No, it came to us, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it yours now?
Is he a girl or boy? His name?
I think it's a male, but
He
it's,
looks like a daisy. He looks
You
like
want to look?
Daisy
You want to look?
something.
See?
they named it Elizabeth.
Really?
Elizabeth,
A
yeah.
lizard, but
Jason, is your
Elizabeth.
snake count been up any this year?
Yeah, what?
We were talking
Oh,
about that.
it's kind of down this year, yeah. So,
he's cute though. He's odd.
yeah, like Charles.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Charles would fit right in with that.
He is pretty, but he
Yeah.
scares me.
But as soon as you pick him up,
Oh!
God, look at it.
and see, he starts trying to bite. You know, he's not friendly. So,
He ain't.
yeah.
Been like,
Jason! Coming for you, Sandy.
Wall. Yeah, come here.
So thank you very much to Deputy Jarrett with the Sheriff's Department down here and Charles with KEM. If it weren't for you two, me and Elizabeth I don't know what would have happened to us. There's no telling.